Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, kings, queens, everyone of Western Togoland. The declaration of Western Togoland's independence today, November 16th, 2019. Western Togoland is the second half of the divided German colony of Togo, so affected in 1914 by Franco-British enemy to Germany as at the beginning of the First World War. Togo has not been part of the First World War, which was known to be purely a European affair. Maybe the French and the British were common enemies to Germany as suzerainty master to Togo. The Franco-British army invaded Togo and brutally destroyed the developmental institutes put up in that country. At the time, Germany gave Togo railway transport system and good roads. Germany's early missionaries gave Togo formal and informal education, by which the citizens became the first African tradesmen and literates, such as teachers, catechists, priests, storekeepers, and account clerks. Within a short space of time, unlike Ghana, we signed a bond with Britain and saw nothing like the above mentioned facilities. France and Britain, having invaded Togo, accepted the League of Nations intervention, recognition, and assignment of the divided Togolands to them, East and Western Togo, to be the chain to independence and recognition as full states or nations. France, for heaven's sake, granted the eastern portion of Togo full independence, and it is now an enviable republican state, unlike Western Togolands, which still not even at a crawling stage. Britain ruled here in the sand and kicked her about like football throughout the years till now. Britain did not show the slightest human respect to Western Togoland citizens. For example, thousands of Western Togoland citizens were forced into the British Army and taken to the various theaters of the Second World War and got them discharged without compensation at the end of the war, leaving their children uneducated, with their mothers left in the poor widowhood situations. At the collapse of the League of Nations and the inception of the United Nations Organization, Western Togoland became a trusteeship territory to the British which she inefficiently managed, Western Togoland, which according to the trusteeship agreement should have been given all arms of government and made a free state, was kept and wrapped in shouts of war for several years with the obvious intention of feeding fat on their natural resources, such as oil, gold, diamond, iron ore, uranium, mercury, clinker, and lithium, and which were in titanic dimensions. Besides, have even intellectuals such as Major St. Anthony of blessed memory and of the British Empire Army during the Second World War, Dr. R.E.G. Amato, an unimaginable linguistician, Mr. Philip Beho, composer of Ghana's national anthem, a musician, Dr. Ephraim Amu, a leading musician of no comparison, beside several others. At the cry of the world's many nations who demand independence from the British rule, especially Western Togoland, compelled the British to rush to the United Nations Organization to terminate the trusteeship agreement of Western Togoland that she could grant her independence. No sooner was the agreement terminated than Britain went back to the United Nations with 4 claims that 1. Western Togoland is too small to be independent. 2. Western Togoland had no mineral underground to support her economy. 3. Western Togoland has no sea coast to build a harbor to be able to trade with other nations. 4. Western Togoland's destiny is in the Gold Coast. The United Nations accepted the view with reluctance and directed that 1. The people should vote to determine their own political future through a referendum. 2. To choose between a union with the British colony of Gold Coast, now Ghana, or separate permanently from her in a referendum. 3. If a union option is chosen, a memorandum of understanding establishing the 2 states should be written. 4. The working of the union should be clearly laid down. 5. A common constitution for the 2 states should be prepared. Thus, the Gold Coast and the Western Togoland. Britain went back and changed the referendum to the term plebiscite. Having been commissioned to administer the plebiscite. All the officials were appointed from Britain's ruled colonies. No single official was chosen from the Western Togoland. The plebiscite was highly